Hi guys, I'm Jasmine and you're watching my channel, The Curious White Coat. I'm in my final year as a medical student, but I was thinking back on my experiences just starting out medical school, and it made me want to create this video for you guys to kind of give you some tips on your first year. My first tip is to celebrate your achievements. First off, you've made it into medical school. Just let that sink in because that's no easy feat. In the 2020 to 2021 application cycle, the AAMC reported that 53,000 people applied to medical school this cycle, but only 22,000 of those people actually made it into a medical school and started this fall. Maybe you've made it in on your first try, or this is your second try or your third try, but regardless, you've made it in and you're well on your way to become a physician. Congratulate yourself. Go celebrate with your family, your friends, your new med school classmates. Go throw a party, eat a cake, do something because you deserve to treat yourself. It's important to celebrate your wins and remind yourself of your worth. As you go through MS1, if you pass a class or ace an exam, do something to celebrate that, because the effort that you're putting into this can't be understated. My next tip is to always ask for help when you need it. I would even say that asking for help is a necessity to your success. Maybe you're coming off of the application cycle where you've been trying to showcase yourself in the best possible light and not emphasize any limitations or weaknesses in your application. It might even be ingrained in you now to not want anyone to see any of the limits that you may have to your understanding or your skills. But now is the time for you to acknowledge those limits so that you can surpass them and grow. No one person can possibly have all the answers. That's why we have to go through 4 years of medical school, however many years of residency or fellowship training, just to become an attending physician. If there's a topic in lecture that you don't understand, ask your professors, ask your classmates, go to tutoring. If your preceptor throws around a term or an acronym that you're not familiar with, ask them about it. Or Google it, because that's probably pretty likely what they're going to tell you to do after you've asked them. Now, if you didn't do as well as you wanted to on an exam, or if you're on the brink of failing a class, it can be really uncomfortable to expose yourself and bring that to someone else's attention. Keep in mind that so much of what we have available to us now in the medical field is from someone saying, I don't understand this, but how can I begin to understand it? Every day, physicians work together to solve patient cases. There are multidisciplinary clinics. You have physicians from different specialties who will reach out to physicians in other specialties when there's something that they're uncertain about on their patients. Please sleep. I figured out pretty early that studying late at night just wasn't for me. I would be in bed probably about like 10 o'clock on weekdays when I had class the next morning, or if there was something that I had to wake up early to do. I would basically shut down if I tried to fight sleep. It was just counterproductive. Now, maybe you're someone who's feeling compelled to get into that next chapter of the textbook or that next UWorld block, but your brain needs a break. It can't possibly consolidate all of that information when it's running on fumes. Sometimes taking a night to sleep and just recharge can be more valuable to your performance on an exam than pulling an all-nighter. And you won't feel as crappy the next morning when you wake up, and you might not need coffee Q4 just to get you through the day. I'm not trying to call anybody out though, because I know med students love their coffee. I actually received this advice from a fourth-year med student in my first few weeks in medical school, and I'm grateful to her for sharing this with me. Be intentional about maintaining the passions you had prior to medical school. This kind of contributes to your personal wellness too. Just like we want healthy and happy patients, we also want healthy and happy medical students. Maybe you're really into Zumba or ice skating or tennis, whatever it is you like to do, be intentional about trying to maintain those hobbies. Medical school will take a lot of your time, and if you have a ton of hobbies, it might not be practical to keep them all up, but try to find one or two that are sustainable and make a regular commitment to them, even if it's just once a week or once a month. For me, one of the things that I like to do was paint. I'd started that in college and I just kind of kept it up. Another thing that I like to do was run. So I'd run on the weekends or maybe after classes on the indoor track at my school's gym. I wish I'd been able to keep up with all of my hobbies. For instance, I recently have been trying to get back into playing the piano more regularly. And sometimes I'm just like, wow, I wish I hadn't set this aside for so long, because now my fingers are just like plonking along and you have to relearn how to make your hands move correctly. You're going to be getting a lot of opinions from everyone on what study resources to use, how to learn, how to succeed in medical school. Find what works for you. You're going to be overloaded with everyone trying to get in their own 2 cents about what the right way is, but I'd argue that the right way is what works for you. Your friend might love First Aid RX, and you might prefer UWorld. Do what works for you. And be open to the fact that what works for you might change. I realized as I went through MS1 that different classes require different strategies. For instance, I used Anki a lot in anatomy, but it didn't really work for me in other courses. I like to make these color-coded schedules on the computer, and I was looking back on my schedules from like MS1, and I saw just how much I had to change my day-to-day schedule just to accommodate different courses. Find what works for you and what will make you a great doctor. Those are just some of the tips that came to mind when I was reflecting on my time as a first-year medical student. But I want to know what you're thinking. What are some of the ways that you celebrated or plan to celebrate getting into medical school? Do you have any routines that help you wind down and get a good night's sleep? I'd love to see your perspectives in the comments because I feel like we can all learn from each other. Don't forget to leave suggestions for future videos on topics that you want to see, and please share this video with any MS1s. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.